Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee is for Closers. It's just me and James today. So welcome everybody. Hello, James.
How you going, guys? Hope everyone's crushing the day, making bank, making sales.
Snapping necks and banking checks.
For sure.
If you listen to this podcast, you will make your first million within 3 years. I'm going to repeat that. You will make $1 million within 3 years of the first episode you listen to. We don't want pikers. We're not here to save the manatees. We're here to make podcasts. You really want this. You listen and review.
Put that coffee down.
All right, so what today's going to be is like a Q&A. So we put it out there on our sales training, the closing code, which is our $50 a week membership. Code word trial, all capitals, get you your first week for $1. No luck in contract. Check it out. Link in the description.
Just make sure you got a full pipeline.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a guy come to me. He probably listened to this, but who gives a fuck? And he was like, hey man, I really want to sign up to your course. And I was like, cool, buddy, here it is. First week's $1, use this code. He's like, sweet. As soon as I fill out my pipeline, I'll sign up. I was like, that's a great idea. You should definitely do that. It's always good to learn stuff when you have to apply it immediately. And with a massive price tag of $1, I don't blame you for wanting to wait. Which brings up a good lesson, which is you sell how you buy.
Exactly.
So if you always need something to be perfect before you buy it, or you need the situation to be ideal, or you need something perfect, you know what I mean? Then chances are that's the objection you get all the time. So you need to change your buying habits to ensure that you can fix your selling habits. So ipso facto, give me your money.
You need to see how they're overcome. The only way to overcome them is, or to have someone overcome them, is to buy something. So
exactly. There you go.
Hit me up in the DMs. We'll get you something to buy.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure something out for you to buy. Okay, cool. So yeah, we put it out there in our closing code, and it was like, hey, what's a bunch of questions that we can answer for you? So James is going to rattle through them, and then I will do my best, and so will James, to answer them. And hopefully this is valuable for everybody listening at home.
Yeah, well, let's punch some of these out. So we got a couple of posts, some banked up over a few weeks. Plus, a lot of people ask very many questions in our group that we have answered. However, if you're not in the group, you don't get to hear it. So first question, what we've got is the price objection and can I think about it? And can I get back to you? I assume that means how do you overcome the think about it and price objection questions? So we've talked about this on many podcasts. Let's just give a brief little 2-minute answer.
Yeah, so the key to overcoming any objection is, first of all, prevention is cure. So you had to have done, usually to overcome effectively over like a long period of time, is to have pre-framed it somewhat and done some pre-handling. So, but failing that, what you need to do is essentially, as a principle, without just giving you a bunch of useless words to use that you're never going to apply anyway, is that you need to first thing you need to do is reaffirm the want and the need to do the program. So for money, for example, okay, from what I understand, I can see that that money might be an issue for you. But if you did have the funding available, would this be the answer for you? Okay, but why? So then we get the reconfirmation of yes, they want to do it and why they want to do it. Then from there, we turn the objection into a problem. Okay, so now that we've established that you do want to do it, which is essentially step one, now it's like, well, it's no longer an objection. Now it's a problem that you guys have to overcome together. So if it's logistical, the plan is not necessarily to sign them up fully on the day, depending on how big the program is, but it might be just to get the highest level of commitment possible on the day without turning the person off. And a lot of the time that involves just signing them up anyway. But sometimes if they do have genuine logistical objections, they have to go to a bank, they have to talk to their partner, they have to, sometimes there are real things that people have to do if you're selling a 10, 20, 30, 50, $100,000 program. So that's my big tips. Turn the objection into a problem. Walk together. Don't push, don't pull. Work together to solve the problem together.
And getting people on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, there's no skill, but there is data. So what you need to do is what we used to do is, this is probably for fitness, I'm assuming, because they're dialing leads. So you have to consistently track when you call, and then you will know when are the best times to call. So if you're always calling between 8 and 10, say, for example, and nobody picks up the phone, then don't call between 8 and 10. Also, get an auto dialer. If you're not dialing with an auto dialer, you're an idiot.
Wasting
They're not-
time.
You're just wasting time. So, and trust me, I was an idiot for a long time. I didn't get an auto dialer until much later when I would have saved myself a lot of headache.
And if you want what we use CloserGo. We'll put an affiliate link in the link below. You'll get extra support and discounts if you use it.
Yes, and has nothing to do with the fact that we then get a commission. That is, don't take that into account whatsoever.
It's pretty minimal, but it works well
Yeah.
enough. We only recommend it because it's very good.
Yeah, because it's what we use. It's good.
To follow on from that and getting people to pick up the phone, right? We had one of the girls in our group, a different person that asked this question, reach out about she's not getting anyone pick up the phone. And a lot of time, if you're calling at all different hours and you've tested that and you're still not getting people to pick up the phone, you need to look at what's happening before they give you your phone number. Is it a marketing issue? Is it a trust issue? And is your content matching what the people want? Because after they've given that phone number and they've got a couple of text messages, emails, voicemails from you, and they still decide to not pick up the phone, that's probably by choice.
Yeah, absolutely. So first things first, if you've been doing that for a while, get a new phone number, because if like you just never know. You also might have been flagged as spam, which can happen to phone numbers. So then like most of the time, a lot of people have a setting on their phone where those types of phone numbers just get blocked immediately. Second thing is that get an auto dialer, because you like sometimes $100 a day can equal 2 sales. Sometimes $300 a day can equal 2 sales, right? So you got to try to get your metrics and don't over dial people. It just pisses people off.
Exactly.
If you're dealing with a crazy amount of leads, then get a predictive dialer, which is where you dial simultaneous numbers at one time, but only if you have a crazy high volume, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds a month. Otherwise, you just end up hanging up on lots of people. And then track the time. So if I call between these hours, I get a much better rate. Then those are your calling times. The auto dialer, you can dial around 4 leads a minute, whereas on a phone, you can dial 1. So you get 4 times the output using auto dialer, which generally fixes most of those issues. And then with your follow-up, I like memes better than anything else. So don't send loads of text. Don't be assumptive. And if people are just really not wanting to pick up and you're texting and you're calling and you're emailing and stuff, then there's something wrong with your marketing because they hate you.
Keep it neutral. Right.
Yeah. All right. Next question.
Yeah. So I guess not necessarily a question, but if you want to give some advice on how do you get people to open up on the phone? And what I mean by when you have the skill to get most people to open up, but I'm talking about that guy that just has those one-word answers. Hey, how are you going today? What's the biggest thing holding you back? Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah.
Any suggestions?
Yeah. So first of all, I think if it gets to that stage, you have to call that out. You have to be like, hey man, I feel like this is a super surface level conversation. Do you mind if I just kind of hit the timeout button and just ask you a few questions about that? Be like, okay. And then just be like, this is a coaching program or whatever it is. And most programs are a coaching program of some sort. But it's like, in order to get your result, I have to be here through the good times and the bad. And I'm going to have to figure out a way to keep you motivated between good times and bad. So if I really don't feel like I have an understanding as to why you want to do this. So hopefully maybe if I can just tell you a little about why I do what I do, and then maybe ask you the same, hopefully you can we can, I guess, sort of get to a better point in the conversation where I feel like I'm confident that I can actually help. And so that's like a tactical vulnerability piece, tactical vulnerability training in the closing code. But like having that nightmare story. So a lot of people have got a nightmare story or they've heard that marketing term. So develop that. And then if they're not going to go deep after that, I would probably just end the call.
Cool.
Or just do a quick offer and be like, hey, do you want to do it? Okay, no, bye.
All right. I guess another question that we got is, can you talk about how to avoid price shock? First of all, maybe define price shock.
Yeah, price shock is, I think it's an objection that I think I coined the term, to be fair. I've never heard it before. I'm sure there's a different term for it, but that's sort of my way of explaining it, which is where you have an unsophisticated marketplace where people like are surprised at the price. Like they're shocked when they hear the price. So I developed that because in fitness, a lot of people think that a personal trainer costs like $2 a session. They pay $10 a week for their gym and they're like, oh, personal trainers are free. They just come with the gym. That's the way it works. People are free, right? So there's a level of a lack of sophistication. So you have to then set a framework within the call that will frame the value so they have an expectation of what they're going to be getting when you do pitch the price. And I mean, like, so you talk about the high end, you talk about the low end, and then you're somewhere in the middle, and you talk about the high end price and the low end price, but you don't necessarily talk about your solution and your price, but you framed it as that you're somewhere in the middle. So that's what I mean when I talk about price shock and how to sort of overcome it. And in non-ROI offers, it's a very important thing that you want to tie down in your sales call. Otherwise, like, you'll get it every time. People are like, oh, I just didn't think it would cost that much. And if people say that, that's a difficult objection to overcome.
Okay. Guys wanting some information on when it comes to that, and I guess this comes into the tactics and strategy stuff that we're sort of putting together at the moment. How long should you talk about your product, which I'd say would fit in prior to the pitch?
Prior to the pitch? Oh, never. Don't talk about it at all.
Okay, then during the pitch.
During the pitch, I don't know, like between 3 and 10 minutes.
Okay.
I would
What
say.
points would you touch on in that? Like, what do clients need to know?
Yeah, they don't need to know deliverables, I don't think, like step by step exactly what, like, if they're going to get a meal plan, it doesn't need to be explained. All it needs to know is they get a meal plan and why they get it. If they're going to get a budget, right, then they're going to get a budget. It doesn't need to go into detail. I pick a couple of pillars. There might be 3 pillars, which, say for training, it's training, nutrition, accountability. For business, it's like accountability, sales, and marketing. So just stuff like that. So you have those kind of pillars. And then what that allows you to do is kind of then anchor an emotion to each pillar. So you go like, okay, you get this. The reason why you get this is this and that. And like, you know how you told me, or you know how you were feeling this, or you know how you said you wanted this. Like, so it all kind of relates back to what they want to do. Do 3 or 4 pillars, no more than that. Keep the pitch relatively short. I do price and term at the beginning. It's quite a contentious thing to say because everyone does it at the end, but that's how I like to do it. For me, it feels natural. We talked about today in team training. I hate getting sold the other way. So like, if I hate it, I'm not going to deliver it well. But that's what I would say in terms of talking about your product and your solution. I wouldn't talk about it much during the process at all, if any. And then from there, I would really focus on having a really concise pitch, because if you overcook it, it tends to put people off and sort of expand too many problems. And I was training Vince's crew today. Shout out to Vince DelMonte. I was training his crew today, and I was like, who here has ever heard, wow, you've given me so much to think about? Person never signs up.
Non-bio language.
That's because and that always happens if you overcook the pitch.
So just going back to that, can you sort of expand a bit more on the concept of price first, then program, versus first program, then price? You just touched on it then, but explain the differences outside of this is what's good for me. Go over maybe the benefits and features of both. And
yeah, so I understand the rationale behind wanting to do the price and the term second, right? Because they say that you want people to really pay attention to everything that you're saying, and that you want to add the value first. So you want to really stack your value before you give the price, right? But for me, it kind of acts as the opposite, because like, I've been in rooms where I've been pitched, and I've been pitched a lot, and I've had sales calls and all kinds of stuff. I like to hear, whenever they're talking like that, all I think in my head is, okay, that's a lot of stuff. How much is that going to cost? Okay, that's a lot of shit. What's happening? Like, are they building up to a huge, crazy, monstrous price? Do you know what I mean? And then, like, I don't know if there's a way I don't know if I'm ever relieved, or there's no payoff. For me personally, I don't see a payoff in doing it that way. Whereas if I do the price and the term first, I feel like, okay, that's out the way. Now they actually have an opportunity to really sink in and listen to what I'm saying, and then attach the value to the price, which they already know. So they go, oh, okay, yeah, it kind of makes sense as to why it costs that much. Whereas I feel like doing it retrospectively doesn't really make sense. And also the data on invoices and quotes is that if you have the price at the top, the invoice and the quote is more likely to be accepted. That's the actual science behind it. So I feel like if it's the same in writing, why would it be any different in language, in spoken word?
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was Paul Dunn, who's a very successful dude, is the guy who told me that. And he makes way more cash than I've ever seen. So I'm not going to question him on it.
Yeah, he also goes into a lot of the research around specific numbers and placing in terms of marketing, i.e., where to put things, what colors to package, where to put things
Yeah.
on shelves. So he's at the forefront of that research and knows
Yeah, he's a
very well
guru.
what he's
Runs an
talking about.
awesome business called B1G1. Buy one, give one.
Mm.
Which is cool. You guys should look it up. It's a charity.
Yeah, sweet. All right. So next question is, when they ask if you do the business opportunity you're selling personally, what's a good answer for that? Just with that question, I assume that, let's say
That's
if you're
for
selling like
network marketing, right?
network marketing, an investment opportunity, Amazon or something like that. And I guess
Yeah, that's
this,
a tough one.
the
Yeah.
same question for a business coaching. Like if you're selling for a business coach, it's like, does this business coach, does he run a successful business in this company? If not, why? You know, how you overcome that.
Fair point.
It's the equivalent, right?
Yeah.
Different industries.
So I don't think there's a way to ethically overcome the second one because that's a good point. You know what I mean?
Same as the first one. It's
No,
like,
the first one's okay because I'm a sales guy. It's what I do. It's what I enjoy.
Okay.
I had a chat with Rode about this actually because Rode was asked the question. He's selling for an Amazon offer. And I also trained the head of sales for Kevin David, who's like the biggest Amazon dude getting around. So I had the same conversation with him. And it was just like, if you get asked that question, it's like, well, no, I do like Amazon, but it's not where my passion is. I really enjoy doing what I do. I don't really particularly want a side hustle, but I understand it. And my goal here is I'm not a coach. I'm not the guy who's going to teach you how to do it. I'm the guy who's going to see if you're a good fit for the program and then help you transitioning into do that. But I'm not the guy, you know? And I think that's really important for people to know. Do you want to get taught by someone who's good at sales, or do you want to get taught by someone who's good at Amazon? Because if someone's really, really good at Amazon, why would they do sales?
Exactly right.
It doesn't make any sense. Like if someone's really, 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 really good at running a personal training studio, why would they be on a sales call?
And I guess that's where like the skepticism comes in. If you're so good at creating Amazon businesses, why are you selling a course in it when you're making all your money off all your side hustles in Amazon?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like that's an easy one because it's just diversification of information products, which is a highly profitable venture. I've made the money, and now I've done the hard work and the market research, and now I can benefit from that in a higher profit venture. So I think just honesty is the key. Like people try and lie, and it's just like, no, just tell the truth.
100%.
Why are you a business coach? Because it's way more profitable.
It is most of the cases, right? Okay, so moving on for that, I guess we'll leave one more there for the Q&A. This will probably take us the most time. It's a very big open subject. How do you get out of slump? What do you do to stop your balls being blue? How do you,
Right.
when you've got KPIs, right, and you're in a slump, how do you hit them so you don't get fired?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, thinking about the KPIs is not going to help you any, that's for sure.
Yep.
So I think first of all, you have to be armed with data. So you have to start to have some, like if you have to be put in a position where you can be successful and you can hit KPIs. I see a lot of businesses that expect their sales team to perform fucking miracles. And that is the reason why we've been so successful, is because I don't allow that thinking to go very far at all. And we have a lot of data. Like we had a client today. He's like, where are all these leads and what's been going on? He's a great guy, but he was like, I've lost 25 grand because these leads hasn't been contacted. We're like, yeah, man, because of this. Your team hasn't done this. Yeah. He was like,
did you give us the leads to contact? No.
Yeah. No. Okay. Sweet. Well, then how are we supposed to know they exist? Right. But we have the answers because James is very, very organized. And so like we have all the data so people can come to us, go, hey, what's going on? And we go, this. And they go, oh, okay. So you guys are doing everything really well. We go, yeah, we're doing well. Like one of our clients the other day was like, so what do you need for me to sell this better? I'm like, well, we're crushing it. We couldn't sell this better. There's like we're closing at a crazy percentage. You just don't have much volume right now.
Spend more money on ads.
He's like, oh, so I just need to spend more money. He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, okay, I can do that.
We know you got plenty because we just sold a ton.
Yeah. So like, it's like, hey man, like we're doing everything. Like here's all the stats. Like you can't get better than that. Not on a. You can get better than that on a day to day or a week to week, but not on a quarter by quarter basis.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, cool. But I think so. First of all, have the data. Second of all, is like you have to have a routine that prevents slumps. I've been through slumps. Everyone goes through them. They're just a part of life. You have to have like a routine that you can put yourself into to be a bit of a rut buster. So what I do is I'll go back through a couple of calls that I know were like rock star level and then I was super, super happy with. And then from there, I'll listen to them every morning. I'll make sure that my routine is really good. So I'll control the things that I can control. The one thing I cannot control is the outcome of the calls. I just can't. If you think you can, you're on drugs. So you can be an absolute savage best salesperson on the planet. There's 10% of people you're never going to sell. And if you get 5 of them in a row, it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yep.
And you have to be able to identify that and then go, okay, that was a really good call. If I do that 9 times out of 10, I get a sale. So you got to have a realistic look at yourself and then that's why having data helps because you can take that back to the business owner and the marketing team and actually give them some like honest feedback that's unemotional. Listen to your calls, listen to the good ones. If you're in a slump, there's no point trying to fix stuff. Don't fix stuff because it's not anything but you. It's your head. You're getting in your own way. There's something going on. So you can tell and judge a salesperson by like how good they are and how experienced they are by how long they can be in a slump without changing anything. So don't change anything because you're just going to make it worse. Because if your process has been working for 6 months, your process isn't broken. It's just there's something going on with you where you're coming off the wrong way or there's something in your life where it's you. It's always you. Yeah. Right? So what you need to do is just get back to consistency. So you can control the things that you can control, and then everything else hopefully falls around it. You know what I mean? But you can't make people do shit. So you have to let go of that, and you have to realize like, okay, I'm just going to do the best that I can do, and I'm going to do everything I can, and I'm going to put myself in a position, and I'm going to speak to my coach, and I'm going to listen to a couple of really good calls, and those are the things that you can do.
The sales will come.
Yeah, exactly. And it, should come.
Also, like, identify what's changed in your life. Like, there's usually something that's happened in you that has caused you to, you might be saying the same things, but your delivery might be off, right?
Yeah,
and it could just be your delivery because something's happened, the missus left you, you're in a bit of financial debt, therefore you're stressed about money, you're putting too much pressure on yourself to close, so you're not delivering the same way you were 6 months ago when you're crushing it.
Yeah. Like I had a big slump when I moved. I had like a 2-week slump after moving. It was because my life was so fucking chaotic, man. Like I was just moved across a country with 2 little kids and it was a fucking nightmare. And at that point, I was kind of stressed for cash because it cost so much money and we weren't making as much money back then. But yeah, man, it was just stressful. And that I couldn't show up with the same level of certainty. My calls were my office wasn't set up. My office environment is really important to me. I have it set up. Like I love my office. I enjoy being in it. It's cool as fuck. Everyone always comments. And the reason why I do that is because it puts me in a really positive environment. So when I sell, I'm in an environment that I enjoy, so that's super important. Salespeople are really heady, you know what I mean? So you've just got to get your head right, control the things you can control. And then from there, just do your best and know that you can't make miracles. You can't make shit happen. And like if you fire someone for not hitting KPIs like once or twice, like in the high ticket closing realm, you're on fucking drugs. Like if they're good and they're consistent, but like they go through a couple of months where they're down, like, man, that's on the business owner to support you, because you got to look at it over the long term. If you hit 2 quarters in a row where you're fucking, then see you later.
See you later. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's too long a time, but like, man, if you have like week to week or month to month KPIs, like that's just not a way to run a sales team.
As the business owner, you should have identified that far earlier and worked with that sales rep to figure out what the issue was so you can solve it.
But that's where the data comes in. You know what I mean? And if you don't have it, you're not going to identify it. It's just straight away. So it's impossible. We got to wrap this up, though.
I think that's most of our questions that weren't repeats or variations of other ones.
Hey, guys, if you do have questions, we have an email. It says CIFC at yoursalesniper.com. Coffee is for closers, CIFC at yoursalesniper.com. Feel free to send any questions that you have, or you can hit me up on Facebook. It's Matt Ryder. You'll see the hustle sign in the background. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know what I mean. Also, man, I just started a YouTube channel. I'm trying to get it out there. It's Matt Ryder. And again, you'll see the hustle sign in the background. So you should be able to pick it out. But I do weekly content on there, daily content on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. so check it out. If you guys like what we do here, please give us a review. And in the review, don't just sort of say random stuff say like something that actually helped you out. Did you make a sale because you heard something on here? Did you get a follow-up? Did you get a piece of advice that actually helped you? And then share this around with a friend so that we can build this podcast. Because I think we're kind of the only people in the industry that are doing something like this. So
give us feedback too at that CIFC email address. It'd be good to take it on board so we can improve things, especially for the guys that are consistently listening. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Have a great day.
All right, guys. Awesome. Have a great day. And usually subscribe. If you don't like it, I don't give a fuck. Bye.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.